talk about, is Tyson Fury better than Ali? Will he beat Ali? That just makes you feel good to put Fury's name in the same sentence as Ali. And I get that it makes you feel good. And I'm not here to be outraged about how dare you put Fury's name in the same sentence as Ali. That's your prerogative. But it's not mine. In my opinion, since you're allowed your opinion, most people who do that have an agenda. One of Ali's dance partners was Joe Frazier. And Ali won 2 out of 3. So he fought him 3 times. Let's say we just took them 3 fights. And let's say, take your pick out of George Foreman or Joe Frazier. And that was the sum total of Ali's World Championship resume. 4 fights. Would he be one of the greatest today? More than likely not. So let's take George Foreman over Liston. So that's 4 championship fights in Ali's resume. That's all Fury has. He has 1 win against Vladimir Klitschko and 3 fights with Deontay Wilder. Well, Ali also beat Liston, Ernie Terrell to become undisputed champion again for the 2nd time, Floyd Patterson twice, Jimmy Ellis, Jerry Quarry a couple of times, Ernie Shavers, Ron Lyle, and I could go on. So, why Ali? Why Ali? What about Joe Louis, 25 defenses from 1937 to 1948? What about George Foreman, champion in 1973 and then reclaimed the belt in 1994? What about that? Larry Holmes, bona fide lineal champion, as you so like to speak about. He made 19 defenses. 19. Tyson Fury isn't even the best British heavyweight. What about Lennox Lewis and his resume? Ruddock, Mercer, Holyfield, robbed, won the rematch. How comes none of these journalists say, well, Lennox Lewis is like Ali, or was like Ali? Mike Tyson turned pro in 1985 and became undisputed champion in less than 3 years. Do you know how long Tyson Fury's been a pro? And he's never been undisputed or fought for undisputed? I mean, look at the Deontay Wilder fans. You know what I mean? But you're crying over Wilder losing, almost in tears, and, oh, we're going to ride for our man. And, no, you should be riding against the journalists with an agenda who will put Tyson Fury's name in the same sentence as Ali and Joe Louis and all your other great champions. That's what you should be banging on. But why would they do that? I mean, when Wilder got to 10 defenses of 1 belt, they were comparing it to Ali when Ali's defenses were undisputed defenses. Not to mention he had another reign where he had another 6 or 7 more defenses. And they compared him to Ali. So why would they do that? They don't have the boxing knowledge or the common sense. Anyway, the bad losers of the weekend,
Shannon Courtenay
and Deontay Wilder. Shannon acted like a right Essex girl in a post-fight interview after she lost to Jamie Mitchell, talking about most of the punches she threw didn't hit her, and she won clearly. What are you talking about? Missed the weight, didn't attempt to take the weight off, lost your titles on the scales, got thoroughly, comprehensively outpointed as far as I'm concerned in the ring. Listen, after what you said to Jamie Mitchell, unless they're going to pay that lady a big bag,
she doesn't deserve the rematch because, you know, she didn't even make weight for the fight. And then when they said to her, right, you've got 2 hours, she just said, nah. Like, you know, if you want your title, that's what you do. So, personally, I don't get the girl, but she said after, oh, I thought I won that. I was landing heavy shots. Yeah, but you got completely outboxed. You know, she was lucky to get maybe 2-3 rounds. I couldn't believe the draw on the scorecard. And, you know, I then took to Twitter to see what everyone else thought, and everyone was in agreement, you know. I think, you know, it is what it is.
You talk about glove-gate, egg weights, loaded gloves, and spiked water and this and that. But to me, it just looked like Tyson Fury beat your ass. At the least, you could just say, yo, he was the better man. Shake his hand and move on with your life, or if you're going to carry on carrying with your career. Simple things. Malik, in response to Wilder's bad sportsmanship, well, Deontay, obviously, he looks at Fury as a man he had serious issues with concerning certain allegations and certain things he'd seen with his own eyes. Tonight, after they released all that energy, he still felt the same way he felt. And I did say beforehand that after the bell, the animosity was still going to be there. They're not going to hug. But it was all on Wilder's side, the animosity. I'll keep it real. I'm not going to blame the defeat on Malik, and I'm not sure what his credentials on being a coach are. Because the way I see it, if you're a boxing coach, you have your gym. The fighter comes to your gym. You don't go into his house and train. Teacher doesn't go to student. a yes man goes to the student. But apart from that, Malik has probably, on a PR front, had a positive effect on Deontay Wilder, because he did give Tyson Fury his due. And he has said some stupid shit, Malik, but I think his all-around more positive energy has been a positive for Wilder, inadvertently, to be honest. Wilder surrounded himself with a lot of toxic shit, that has to be said. A lot of people who don't know how to talk or carry themselves properly. But Malik's more accommodating, friendly-ish vibe, if you like, has been a positive in approaching the Wilder situation. Now, as a coach, and I know he might get homeboy put in a body bag, but yeah, we'll leave it there. I'm glad I haven't really heard Shelley Finkel having to talk for Wilder during the build-up. I'd rather listen to Malik, to be honest. I did enjoy the fight. It was a very good fight. But then again, so was AJ versus Klitschko. So was AJ versus Dillian. So was Steve Cunningham versus Tyson Fury. Wilder versus Ortiz was good. So, you know, it's a good modern day fight. It's a good modern day fight. Wilder, he was out on his feet for most of the fight after the third round or so. Landed some good punches after that, but he always looked like he was going to get knocked out. Wilder broke his finger. I don't know if his performance was impaired by that. There is a controversial moment in the fight, and Wilder may have been denied of regaining his title. The referee made a mistake, right? He picked up the count from the timekeeper at 4. And at 5, he tells Wilder to go to the correct corner. Wilder went to the wrong corner. He's supposed to go to a neutral corner. So when he picks up the count, he's supposed to pick it up from the timekeeper. But he doesn't do that. What's his name? Russell Mora. He tells Wilder to go to the neutral corner when he gets to 5. And then when he picks up the count, he goes 6, 7. No. In the time you're telling Wilder to go to the neutral corner, you're missing at least 3-4 seconds out of your count. But no, he goes from 5, tells Wilder to go back to the neutral corner, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's about 3 seconds extra he's gave Tyson Fury to recover. Maybe more. Yes, there is an argument to be made that Fury should have been counted out, but we can go back to the battle of the long count with Dempsey and Tunney, which is similar to what happened on Saturday, where they just introduced going to the neutral corner after you score a knockdown. And Dempsey was ushered to the neutral corner. The referee didn't go to the timekeeper. He picked up his own count and gave Tunney precious seconds to recover. Now, Dempsey's manager, Jack Kearns, and this is from Mike Tyson's account, had a lot of enemies. But then again, Mike Tyson at the time was a bit of a Jack Dempsey sycophant. So it is what it is. Jersey Joe Walcott made that balls up in Ali Liston 2 when Nat Fletcher went upside the ring and told him, yo, Liston was down for 10 seconds. And Jersey Joe waved the fight off. He shouldn't have did that. You got Mike Tyson's knockdown of Buster Douglas when he lost his belts. Was Douglas down for 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever? I didn't want to accept Mike lost his belts. You know what I mean? I was trying to say, yeah, Mike won. He knocked Buster out. But you learn to accept these things. Nigel Benn, when Gerald McClellan knocked him out the ring, he had 30 seconds to recover. How long did he get, though? Probably more. The margins of error when referees are dealing with counts after knockdowns, they've always been a case you have to give and take. But let's not get it misconstrued. That aspect of refereeing can be subject to corruption as well. Well done, Tyson Fury. All I can say is welcome to AJ's world now. You are now world champion. Not no lineal. They done this and no. You are now a sanctioned body world champion. No more COVID delaying fights. You have to fight your Mandos now. Welcome to AJ's world. Because now you're going to get to prove your legacy. Let's face it, Otto Wallin turned out to be better than what we thought. But it was a cherry pick. And so was Tom Schwartz that year. No more of them fights. And no more a year between the first Wilder fight in 2018 and 2020, and then another year between the second and third. No more of that now. You have to defend at least once a year. And the modern day standard is 2 defenses a year, unless you're some Gary Russell fighting once every 4 years or whatever, and then saying you're Marvin Hagler. Come on, we need to stop that. Let's stop that. Comparing yourself to greats, and the consistency, it just isn't there. You can't do that. We can't have that no more. Bring them Mandos on. That's what I want to see. I want to see the consistency, because I know you're going to say I'm a hater, but I don't really care about your opinion. If you're not going to traditional values of boxing, your opinion doesn't mean anything to this channel. You've got to be a consistent champion defending your belts.
If you had a preference, John, would it be Usyk next or would it be White? What would second guess it for me. What would Tyson's preference be?
He's got to go for Usyk or nothing, in my idea. It's Usyk next or nothing.
Yeah.
I won't bother with the rest of them.
But John, didn't
Tyson's class.
Didn't Tyson say, though, there were 5 fights that he was going to take? He was going to deal with Wilder.
Yeah.
And obviously the Joshua situation has changed now. He was going to deal with him.
Yeah.
And I think Dillian was one of them as well, wasn't it? And then he was going to give Derek Chisora a payday, and off he went.
Really, yeah. So we can really take Tyson Fury's word.
I'll answer the question in one. Would Dillian White deal with Deontay Wilder?
No.
No. So why do you want to put him in my son and get him knocked out?
Because in fairness, John, that kid's waited for a shot at a title for 3 or 4 years now, hasn't he?
Well, at the end of the day, he just got knocked out by a 42-year-old man.
Povetkin, I know.
Slap with the back of his hand.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, a loss that he avenged.
Tyson can't get up for them kind of fights.
No, that's what my...
Yeah, but he can get up for fighting Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin. It's a joke.
Was John? Does he get up for that fight?
He wouldn't be able to raise his game for that fight because it's not big enough. And he goes in there with a lacklustre attitude. You don't see the best of Tyson. You only see the best of Tyson when he's up against the best.
Dillian White is going to be his mandatory after 30 days. What are you talking about?
Like he had, and he's in a great fight. For me, I've told him, Usyk or don't bother.
Remember when Fury said if he gets a belt, he'll defend against Dillian? This guy here, man. Look, this is what's going to happen, right? If Dillian beats Otto Wallin, they're going to try and manipulate Mauricio Sulaiman not to give Dillian his shot. That's what's going to happen, right? In all truth, Mauricio shouldn't even be waiting no 30 days for Fury to negotiate a fight with Usyk. He should be giving Dillian his shot straight away, mandating him. Fury's the guy who said nobody wants Usyk to be a world champion. They want champions to come from Britain and America. This is what he said out of his own mouth. If Usyk was Tyson Fury's mandatory, you think he would have just took the fight like AJ did? Or if Frank Sanchez was his mandatory? You think if Fury was looking for a replacement opponent like AJ was in New York, he would have picked fucking Luis Ortiz? No. Right? He just beat somebody who was inactive for 20 months, who he had just knocked out. And like the world is talking about this guy in the same vein as Muhammad Ali, I can't accept it. Frank Sanchez done a great job in neutralizing that right hand of F.A. AJAGBA. AJAGBA has got a mental block that's essentially going to hold him back from being the best he could. It's funny, I didn't like Sonny Edwards' performance against the South African when he won the belt. But a lot of people were telling me, it was a great display of boxing. But when Frank Sanchez neutralizes a huge puncher like that in the way he did it, it's boring, it's terrible, I don't like it. Be consistent, at the least. He floored AJAGBA in the 7th, so I got one of my picks right for the weekend. People are saying that he's not box office. Well, it depends how good he is. Like, if he is mandated to get a title shot against whoever and he wins, well, you'll have a choice. You can either stop watching heavyweight championship fights, or you have to roll with Frank until somebody beats him. It's as simple as that. Julian Williams, a.k.a. J-Rock, he lost in his comeback fight, which I assume was supposed to be a layup, considering how inactive he's been. Some people say he won, he should have got the verdict, and some people say he deservingly lost. I'm still awaiting to see it, so I'll give you my thoughts then. Adam KOWNACKI showed better punch resistance this time around, but he was still exposed in the rematch against HELENIUS. HELENIUS upset him last year. A big upset, stopped him. And this time HELENIUS just deconstructed him with the jab and uppercuts, busted up. Was it his left eye was swollen shut? And how can I explain myself? The low blows were intentional, but I don't think his mind was thinking if it was illegal or not. I think he had just totally lost the plot. Because even the last blow, it wasn't like, right, I'm really going to try and hurt you with this low blow. He just threw it low. Maybe he was trying to tap out. Anyway, he got DQ'd in the 6th. And now you look at Robert Helenius' resume. He's got Adam KOWNACKI as a scalp twice and has re-emerged as a fringe contender of sorts at 37 years of age. Who would have thought? Are there any more upsets left in the bag? Was KOWNACKI for tapping out? Couldn't resist it. I don't really mean he's a coward. It's just great wordplay. Was he just a hype job who should have took that payday against AJ in 2019? Or can he come back? Can he rebuild? I don't think he's got the skills. According to Mike Coppinger, he suffered a left orbital fracture in round 1. Yeah, that eye messed up bad. You can see it was messed up bad. Edgar Berlanga. I was never sold. He won a UD over Marcelo Esteban Correses. He got knocked down in the 9th. I've always thought he was limited. And when I said that, a lot of people didn't like it. You know, he's going to be the next great thing. We'll see. Maybe he can tidy up his game and become something. He just seems to me like a street kid who's got a lot of swag and whatever and talk, but nothing more. Server Emilev from Russia outboxed Callum Johnson, but he didn't sit on his punches enough. Like, there were opportunities where he made Callum miss and then he hit him with a couple of jabs, but he didn't sit down on his shots enough if you're the visiting fighter, you know. And they gave Callum a majority decision. Callum looked ponderous and slow. His right hand was telegraphed. His opponent doubled up the jab on him at times, doubled up his left hook, had a nice straight right. Callum's attacks were ponderous. His opponent span off the ropes and was the way better boxer. But you're just not going to get a verdict outboxing the hometown fighter like that. You have to do a little more. Fucked up, but what's new? Well, Callum wins again, but let's face it, since the Beterbiev fight where people were raving over his effort because he floored Beterbiev and got stopped early, you know, his resume hasn't improved with Joe Gallagher, and his boxing technique is amateurish at best. He's got a big punch, you know, and Joe cannot blame this on Eddie Hearn. You're with Frank Warren now. Can't blame this on Eddie Hearn. It never was Eddie Hearn's fault. I don't see Joe Gallagher or Callum asking for the winner of Yard versus Arthur. I don't see them doing that. They're waiting around for a title shot. But he doesn't deserve a title shot to me. What is it, 3 fights since 2018 when he fought Beterbiev against opponents who were European level at best. No big names, not on the domestic or world level. Basically, he needs Frank to pull some strings for his career to get anywhere because, let's face it, the resume doesn't look that great. And he's not exactly some engaging personality. He's not getting into domestic clashes where people are saying, oh, I want to see that. Take on a Joshua Boatsi, call Boatsi out. Yeah, I really want the fight. I want the winner of Arthur and Yard, which would be the easiest fight to make because you're all in Queensbury. Let's see if Frank can pull some strings for the guy. Because that's all he's got going for him. The best thing he's got going for him right now is Frank Warren. You know, even guys like Dan Aziz, Hosea Burton, I'm more interested in their career because they're fighting next for the British title. This is a good fight. That's on Sky. That's a good fight. In November, on the 20th. What's this guy doing? Come on, man. Ted Cheeseman traded on his chin and durability one time too much and he got caught out today, you know. He's been outboxed by the likes of Sergio Garcia and he was out-strengthed by Scott Fitzgerald. But he's never been knocked out. And he's been in some really good fights and he's only 26. He's been in some really good fights. He started off pretty well with his jab against Troy Williamson, unbeaten, 16-0. But he got caught up in the atmosphere. Big crowd there, very hyped up crowd at the Echo Arena. And the slugfest suited Troy down to the ground. Troy is built like a tank for the weight class. And as Chris Mateus pointed out to me on my live stream, he started at 164. He only moved down to light middle in 2019. Big lad, very strong jab. Good body puncher, and he managed to outlast Ted, knocked him out with a horrible left hook. I think there was an uppercut before that, and then a left hook finished him. Great finish for the British super welterweight title. Excellent fight. A classic. I don't want to write Ted off, and I won't do that, but fighters like Ted, who made a career of having a good beard, once that goes, it's, normally more knockout defeats to come. Unless he makes a major adjustment in his style. Troy Williamson, tell you what, he looked pretty good. Need to see more. He crossed over from Queensbury. Frank let him go over there. So Frank, he won big. He won big on the night. He got one over on Eddie.
My kind, Beefy? My kind? It's me that sprayed all the walls, is it? and mashed up the speakers, yeah?
Beefy proved me wrong, didn't he? He was the better fighter. I did say he was the better fighter, but I did pick Anthony Fowler, and I regret the pick in hindsight because I'm not getting caught up in this trainer hype no more. I'm not getting caught up in that anymore. A lot of people are caught up in the trainer hype. Now, let me say what I say so it's understood. Shane McGuigan is a good coach, but all this coach hopping people are suggesting, I don't know how relevant it really is. If you're a boxer and you're going in the ring, southern area, British level, world level, and you're going in the ring getting beatings, nobody knows what adjustments to make better than you yourself. Let me just let you know this, right? There are probably several heavyweights, and they're not necessarily better than Anthony Joshua. If Rob McCracken was to give them the same instructions to go fight Usyk that he gave Joshua, there's a good chance they'd do better than AJ. That's just how that is. And let me tell you this now, with all the experience Rob McCracken has, if any of you believe he couldn't guide another heavyweight to a heavyweight title, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to be rude. I'm here to tell you you are 100% wrong. Anthony, I'm thinking of EastEnders, Mark Fowler. Anthony Fowler is not Lawrence Okoli. Anthony Fowler is not Josh Taylor. So if anyone is expecting them miracles out of Anthony Fowler because he's with the coach everybody's talking about now, Shane, then it's not going to happen. All the people in the industry, Leonard Ed will be talking about, was it Stephen Edwards who trained J-Rock? What, did he train him Saturday as well when he lost to some also ran? And I like J-Rock. Then was it Ronnie Shields? Yeah, if AJ wanted me to train him, I'd be there. Yeah, these guys want the gig. It's a great gig. Anthony Fowler couldn't have started the fight better if he wanted to. He cut Liam early over the left eye and was catching him clean with some good shots. Liam was hurt a little, not badly, but he was hurt. He's got a very sturdy chin. He used that high guard pretty well, waited for Fowler to punch him, not punch himself out, but throw what he had, and then he came back with his own shots, his own jab, and he drew Fowler into his fight, really. Like, the final punch, I was saying, why are you trading left hooks with this guy? And then bang, he got knocked out. Very good performance by Liam Smith. Excellent. Once again, a near 10,000 capacity crowd, and you have to keep your cool. My guy had to box behind the jab and move, but he got drawn into a slugfest way too early. I mean, his long punches were very effective, Fowler. But you need discipline, and maybe he needs longer with Shane. As for Andy Lee scoring all them early rounds to Liam Smith, horrible commentary, Andy. Horrible. Did some horrible commentary. Has to be said.